Alright, in this video I will be talking about chapter 14 content mastery video, and so I will be reading off of my notes. These are my notes, and then I will be reading off of my computer the questions that I will be answering. So the first question that I'm supposed to answer is discuss the importance of understanding individual behavior for a manager and the impact that self-awareness has on a manager and their ability to effectively do their job. So the importance of understanding an individual's behavior is for a manager is to understand how others work and what their behavior is, because as a manager, when we learn about how to understand ourselves, it helps to understand who we are as a person, and it will help us understand others. So being able to understand what we like and what we don't like, and being able to understand what how we think and what pisses us off or something like that will help us understand others as an individual as well. And it will also help us make decisions about others, because as we know about ourselves, it will help us learn to know what others think. And then also another thing is a manager has to be aware of themselves and what their beliefs are, what their opinions are, their values, etc., and it helps get a good understanding of understanding what other people's beliefs is, and being able to get on the same page as them. And the way that understanding other people's their individual behavior, and as a manager, it can help help their ability to effectively do their job, is because, for one, they are able to communicate with others and understand them as a person, and they can help build solutions for people, and being able to understand what roles they are cut in good for that organization, just things like that. And also it just helps the manager make better decisions, because they're more aware of what others are thinking and aware of themselves as well. And so then next I'm going to talk about the question 2, and that is explain some of the internal and external factors that may impact an individual's behavior. So some of the internal factors that I've realized that can impact a individual's behavior is their own emotions, their own beliefs, and their own personality. That all can affect the internal behavior of an individual, because they have different behavior, or they have different emotions than other people, they have different beliefs, and they have a different personality than everyone. Nobody is the same in the world. So, and then some of the external factors that can impact an individual is the environment they are living in, or the working environment that they're working in, family, friends, and yeah, that's about it. There's more factors that I know for sure, but the external factors, like working or living in a negative environment, can impact someone's behavior to be negative. Or if the environment is like super outgoing and super popular and everybody loves it there, it can change the individual's behavior to be very positive and have a lot of motivation to do things. And why is it important for a manager to understand the differences in each? It is important for a manager to understand the differences in each, because it helps understand the person overall. So when an individual is having stress problems, or they're angry, or they're upset, they understand that that's something that they're dealing with inside of them, and a manager should be able to tell when that is an internal factor between an external factor, and being able to tell if someone is very unmotivated, or they're stressed and they're calling on the phone a lot. That can be an external factor, because it's affecting them in the work environment, or it's affecting their personality, or not their personality, their behavior, and they can be very stressed or very upset. And so it's important to understand the differences in both of these because it just helps understand the person overall and to come up with solutions to make that individual's behavior better. And then next, I'm going to talk about, oh, I answered the wrong question. Okay, so how might a manager address each of these? So this is what the question is for that one. How might a manager address each of these? So they can have like a good conversation with each of the individuals and communicate by figuring out what behavior that specific individual is having, if they're coming to work late or if they're super tired. Ask them what their home life is like and what problems they are having. And manager can just address these by being super open to their individuals and super understanding to be able to talk to them to figure out a solution for them to be in a better mood or whatever for the workplace so that the organization can succeed. And then explain the role that perception and personality has on an individual's behavior. So I'm going to give you the definition of perception, and that is the cognitive process people use to make sense of the environment by selecting, organizing, and interpreting information from the environment. So in the video that I watched that you talked about perception, it's like how everybody views something different. Like you said, you have a pen and you said everybody take a photo of it and every photo is different. And also being able to look at like illusion photos, and there was this one photo where it was, do you see an old lady or a young woman or a young lady, like just whatever that is. And some people can see an old lady and some people can see a young lady, and that just shows the different perception that people have on something. And then also perception and personality has on individuals' behavior by discovering what their thoughts are, what their opinions are, what they see, and having to it just describes what a person is by having to, when they vision something else differently than others. And then why is it important for a manager to understand the differences in each? So it is important for a manager to understand the differences in each because perception is not all about the personality. Perception is when someone is judging something or when they see something differently than others, and personality is their emotions or how they act and what they love, what they like to do, what they hate, things like that. And the differences for a manager to know, the reason why a manager should know these differences is because it can help understand how to help a certain individual see a perception of something in the way that a manager wants them to. And personality is just where a manager should understand how that person acts and what they like and what they don't like. So that it's very important to know the differences because you cannot change somebody's personality, but you can change someone's perception. Gosh, sorry. And then next I'm going to talk about the last question, and that is discuss the concept of stress and the impact it has on behavior. All right, so I will give you the definition of stress, and that is an individual's psychological and emotional response to external stimuli that create physical or psychological demands that exceed the individual's knowledge, abilities, or resources when important outcomes are at stake. So the main part of stress is when somebody is very overwhelmed about something, like a concept. I am stressed about homework all the time, and that is something that I will always be stressed about because I want to get a good grade and I want to be able to turn things on time. And so that is something to be very stressed about. And another way to describe stress is just you can tell when somebody's stressed by the way they act. They are very snappy. They are on the line with their emotions, and they're all over the place, and they're just constantly moving, having to do something. And the impact it has on behavior is it kind of has a negative impact because it makes others very overstimulated and very on edge because they're worried about something, or they're not able to adapt to change, and that can make them very stressed. And another thing that it has an impact on behavior is it is really hard for people to undergo stress without freaking out. And so stress just is really negative to a person. So include in your explanation some of the methods or ways a manager may help an employee deal with the effects of stress. So being able to have one-on-ones with employees and being able to talk to them about what they are concerned about, what are they stressed about, and how to find solutions to make it better by being able to be openly communicated to them and to understand what they are talking about. And also another thing is another method a manager can have to help an employee deal with stress is being able to be openly communicated with these people. And oh wait, I already said that. Sorry, I'm losing my concentration. But some of the methods is being able to have the employees go on some more breaks if they are like overworked or they're super stressed out about the tasks they have in the organization. They can give the employee a break or a day off or something like that to give that person some time to relax and calm down. And also, another thing about stress is you talked about having a good stress and a negative stress. So a good stress is like, your example was, let's say like you got a lottery ticket and so you're waiting to see if you win the lottery. And if you do, that's a good stress because you're stressing out and you're hoping for the best. And a bad stress is like you got arrested, so now you have to go to court. So that's a bad stress. But yeah. And also having to deal with these effects of stress, that another method that can be used is just being able to understand where they're coming from. So, and I think that's everything I have to talk about in this video. So